Hello, hello, my beautiful Cancers. How are you, my gorgeous ones? So, as you can tell, there's no intro. This looks a little different. I was trying to do something different and get it aesthetically beautiful and all of that. But then I had to get over myself. I had to get over that ego because it's not about you. Sorry, it's not about me. That's what I was telling myself. It's not about me. It's about getting the information out to you. So, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I wanted you to see what I talk about when I talk about the houses and how this solar eclipse is going to affect you. So we're going to have this partial solar eclipse on the 15th. So that's just in a couple of days, and I'm trying to get all of them out. So pardon the way that it looks, but I'm hoping to give you the information that you need. So as you can see, we have all of these planets on this side, right? All of these planets, Cancer, on this side, and we're going to be talking about you today. I do have a spread over here. Let me get my thing. So I do have a spread over here for you guys that I laid out, and I'll be talking about that. I'll make that bigger once we talk about the aspects and the solar eclipse that's going on. Hello, welcome. For those of you that have never seen me, thank you for watching. My name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot, astrology, and all kinds of stuff to help you on your path. So let's talk about you, Cancer, because it's all about you right now. So this solar eclipse is going to be happening. Well, before that, let me talk about what a solar eclipse is. So it's going to be happening in Aqua. And for you, in Aquarius, it's going to be happening in your 8th house. But we had this lunar eclipse, right? So let's talk about what a solar eclipse is. So a solar eclipse, and with it is going to be the new moon. And we know what the new moon is. Now, if you haven't seen my new moon video, I'll have the link down below so you can check it out. These are steps to take so that you can use the energy, because the new moon is about new beginnings. It's about creating the things that you've been wanting to create. It's about looking forward, right? The lunar eclipse and the full moon was about letting go, getting through, releasing that energy so that more energy can flow through you. Because I've explained this before, but I'll explain it again. In our physical body, in our physical world, we only have so much energy that can run through us. And when we're holding those things that no longer serve us, we're not giving ourselves room for the abundance, for the things that we're trying to create, for the things that we want to happen, for all those beautiful blessings that are trying to come in that we've called for. So the full moon was about releasing, and that lunar eclipse was about that energy is going to be going on for the next 3 months. So that energy about you getting through things and really closing things, it's about changes and destiny and all of that. You can look at the lunar eclipse video that I did for each one of your signs. I did a little bit about that for you guys. So this on top of this partial solar eclipse is going to be happening. So for the next 3 months, you're going to be releasing in abundance, releasing and gathering, releasing and bringing in. So we're going to be going through that again. And if you can remember what you were doing in the summertime or about 6 months ago, that's what's going to be kind of coming up, and you're going to be heading towards that and releasing those things that you weren't able to release, or it wasn't time for you to release at that time. Okay, so those things are going to come back into focus. And if you've been really working on those things and progressing on those things, but you're co-creating and you have, like some of you are going to be dealing with divorces, some of you are going to be dealing with houses, moving homes, moving places. Like these are things that are with co-creation where you've done everything you can, but it still hasn't completed, right? So if you've done everything that you can and it hasn't completed, this is the time, this next 3 months is where you're going to get the completions, because you've been already working on it, okay? But for those things that you had started working on and then you stopped, it's going to come back up, okay? So, pardon me, I am still getting over this bronchitis, so pardon me if I have to cough. So the solar eclipse is about intensified new beginnings. So it'll be happening for the next 6 months to a year. With the new moon is about reinventing, rejuvenating, energizing, revitalizing energy, creating. It's about gains and abundance, right? So with the solar eclipse happening in Aquarius, I wanted to go over very quickly what Aquarius is about, just so that you know the type of energy that you'll be working in this house. And again, it's going to be in your 8th house. So Aquarian is about, it's a masculine sign, and it's an air sign, so it can move, but it's a fixed sign. So this is the thing. It's mentally agile. It thinks progressively. So if you can make sense of why you need to move in that area, you will do it. That's Aquarius. So Aquarius gifts is bringing everything and everyone together. It gives people what they want and need. Okay? That's Aquarius energy. It's connecting to everyone and allowing and bringing everyone to grow. It wants to bring the group to grow, right? So, um, Aquarius energy is very sociable, very sweet, extremely intelligent, very generous, creative, personable, speaks the truth when they speak. Okay, so that's Aquarian energy. They're very eccentric and quirky. So you may not do things like you normally would with this energy. You may find like a different kind of quirky way to do it, right? Or move forward. Um, so they like to create and they like to build, and they're very, very good at manifesting. Their issue is trying to see that what they're manifesting is going to be of value. Okay, so that's what you're going to be working with in this house. They have futuristic beliefs. They think probably 150 years ahead of us, right? So um, they love science and technology. They're very spiritual. Um, it's kind of beyond spiritual, but spiritual is the word that you guys would know. It's not kind of, it is beyond spiritual. They have this bigger knowing, right? So we'll call it like new agey, right? So they're really compassionate. They have a lot of empathy. They have a lot of love for the whole of humanity, right? So, but like I've said before, each sign or planet has octaves, right? Or what we'd call lesser evolved vibration or more evolved vibrations, right? So we'll talk about that was that I had just described is the more evolved vibration of Aquarius. That's an Aquarius that is aware of their being themselves being an old soul, right? So the lesser evolved or a young aqua, as you can say it, can be kind of cold and cynical and detached because they have this. They have Aquarians have this way of detaching from their feelings, and people think that Aquarians don't feel, but that they don't realize that Aquarians feel too much, and so they have this gift of detaching themselves from the feeling so that it can help them progress and move forward, right? But they have to go back and look at it, and sometimes they don't. So they can be moody and distant, and they can have attachment issues, okay, or intimacy issues. So that's sort of the energy of Aquarius. Now, where are you at in your life? What phase are you at in your life? Are you a young Cancer? Are you a middle Cancer? Are you an older Cancer? Are you an evolved Cancer? Are you lesser? That's kind of you and your path as to what energy you're going to be using in this house. Okay, so I hope all of that makes sense. Um, I wanted to just go over that energy. So for you guys, it'll be in the 8th house, and that is the solar eclipse. So we want to use that energy for new beginnings. We want to use that energy to get us to the next phase. We want to use that energy. And remember, an eclipse is about being at 0 point energy, and 0 point energy has a lot of energy in it. So it's almost like you're standing there and you can just be boosted into the direction that you're trying to go through intention and focus. Okay, but you have to take action, right? So when we're talking about this, you're going to be in that eclipse, I want you to think of where you're trying to go. I want you to feel, because you got cancers are more empathic. I want you to feel where you want to go. I want you to feel how your life would be, or where you see yourself next. That's how you're going to use that eclipse energy. I hope all that makes sense. I don't want to make this a long video about all that, because I'm going to start making videos about each sign and each house and all of that. Okay, so that's just a quick overview about what's going to be going on now for you, Cancer. So when I'm looking at the chart, and everybody, astrologers always use Aries because it's the first sign, right? So, and Pisces right there is the last sign. So Aries would be the first sign, but you're Cancer. So this is your sign right here. Oops, sorry. I'm using my other. Okay, so let me see. So Aries is the first sign right here. And then Cancer is your sign. So if your ascendant, sun, moon are in Cancer, then you would, this is your first house. So you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is your eighth house, right? So you see Aquarius is in your eighth house. And you see there is the sun and the moon where it's going to eclipse. Okay, and it's going to eclipse at 27 degrees. Okay, so, but you see how all these other planets are there and they're in close proximity. So you have a lot of things, we all have a lot of things going on in our planets, in our chart. So with the sun and moon eclipsing at 27 degrees in Aqua, it's really going to be using that higher vibration of Aqua energy. But you have to allow it to come in. So I know this is a very different way than most astrologers teach, but I kind of want to give you the gist or the really understanding of how to use this energy. Okay, so we have the sun and the moon, and then we have Mercury over here. So Mercury, remember, is that planet of communication and processing. So, sorry, I had to turn my phone off. So, with what's going on or going to be going on in your eighth house, you're going to, with Mercury being here, it's going to help you process this. And you Cancers really need to process something to be able to move forward, right? And then you have Venus over here. And then you have Neptune over here, right? And then you have Chiron over here. So you have all these planets. These especially are so close together that they're called conjunct, where they're sort of speaking to each other and they communicate in a way that they have this communication or this conversation where they're going to be helping you progress, helping you grow. So this energy is all used to help you move to the next level in the eighth house. So the eighth house, what is it about? Let's talk about what the eighth house is about. So the eighth house is about your power, and it represents transformation. It's ruled by Scorpio, but again, it's going to have Aqua in this. So it wants to figure out the puzzle. Remember, Scorpio energy wants to figure out, it's like a detective, right? But it wants to go deep. So it wants to figure out problems, the things that you can't see, the things that you're trying to, like the things that have been a mystery. It wants to like make it clear and help you progress forward, right? So it supports the seventh house. And the seventh house, remember, is about relationships. So for you guys, you could be dealing with what's going on in your relationship because you have Saturn. Sorry. So you have Saturn here, and Saturn and Pluto. So you have Saturn and Pluto. So Pluto also is about transformation. So with Pluto here and transformation, and your eighth house being lit up with this eclipse and Mercury, then it tells me that you're going through a transformation. You're going through a big transformation. So this thing, the eighth house also is dealing with other people's money. So if you've been working hard to achieve some stuff and it hasn't been coming through, but you've been steadily working, loans could come in if you're trying to go to school. That contract that you've been trying to get could come in if you've been working on this stuff, right? So money issues, this is about lessons that you're learning. So, but from these things, you transform into your power, right? This is where you're learning your power, just what you can do in this world, just how other people are around you, just what other people and yourself are about. That's what this eighth house is about, right? So it's also your sexuality. So with this being lit up, if it's time and you have somebody or you want somebody, it could be time for that too. And it's about expanding your awareness about other people, about yourself, about the world around you, and how you're doing that because it's preparing you for the ninth house. And the ninth house is about your belief system, what you come to believe when you learn about the eighth house, when you've transformed and understood your power in this world, right? So this is a house of transformation. So I see a lot of you um, coming into your own, and finally things progressing where they hadn't progressed more, and finally things coming through financially for you, finally things coming through if your focus has been in relationships. Finally those things are going to be coming through for you, and this is all going to be happening especially in the next 3 months, because again, we still have that lunar eclipse and um, the full moon. So that's that energy that's going to be there for 3 months, 45 days especially. But with the solar eclipse, you're going to have both energies there working for the next 3 months at least. So you're going to be like releasing and then new beginnings, releasing, transformation, releasing, transformation. And if you want the steps to take, again, I have the video about steps to take when you have a full moon and steps to take when you have a new moon to manifest. Okay, so this is all about manifestation for you. This is all about transforming for you. Okay, and with Saturn and Pluto in your seventh house, this is about relationships and your boundaries. Relationships and your boundaries. So remember the seventh house. The seventh house is about understanding people mirroring you, understanding what you're wanting in a relationship, understanding the types of relationships you have, understanding if you want someone in your life or not, understanding how that's going to play out. That's all Saturn and Pluto working in this house, right? And this is Capricorn, so you're going to have to work in it. Capricorn's not going to do anything lightly. They're going to work hard for it. And with Saturn there, Saturn and Capricorn work well together. So Saturn is that planet that it's just kind of out of reach, like out of, you can't, you can see it. It's the last planet you can see. So it's almost like I can see my goal, but it's just out of my reach and I have to keep stretching to get it. So I have to keep working to get it. And it can come through if I stick with it. Then it'll come to reality. Then it'll come into the physical. That's Saturn. And Pluto is about transformation. So in the next year, you guys are going to be transforming in this house. This is where you're going to be transforming in this house. So I don't want to talk too much about each of the planets. I just wanted to do a little overview for you guys. I really wanted to talk about the solar eclipse, the partial solar eclipse, and how that was going to work for you guys. You have another Chiron here in your 12th house. So there are some things that are going to be coming to you. The 12th house is about isolation, really understanding, and completions for you. And this has to do with past lives. Okay? So with Chiron being there, there may be some things that have happened to you, are happening to you, that are no fault of your own. But understand that it was part of your path so that you could release that karma or release that experience that you wanted to experience and move into a different understanding. Okay? And then we have Mars in Sagittarius. So Mars in Sagittarius is in your 6th house. And with Mars, Mars is that planet of war. So think of Mars as, you know, that person that sort of does it and then thinks about it later and they're like, ooh, probably shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should have thought about that a little bit better. So that's Mars. Mars just wants to go and take action. So, but you can channel that energy with Sagittarius there, because Sagittarius has integrity. It's looking for the unknown to make it known. It comes to, Sagittarius has to do with belief systems, how you believe in things or what you believe in things. So Saturn gives you the energy to do that. And the 6th house is about your daily activity, your work, your health. So you can use that in a couple of different ways, because that sixth house can become um, a self-victimizing house. It's almost like the sixth house is like, um, I work and I work and I work and nobody appreciates me, right? So you can get into that energy with the sixth house. And with Mars there, remember, it's aggressive. So you may be having issue with, all I do is work, all I do, and I don't get anything, and da 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 da. And you can do that, right, in the sixth house. But with Sag there, it's going to help you see the integrity of it all. It's going to help you understand a different way in this house, okay? Now, your fifth house, remember, Scorpio has Jupiter. Jupiter is the guru. Jupiter is the planet that wants to give you abundance, but it wants you to grow, to give you the responsibility, to so that you have the responsibility. And Scorpio wants to go deep. Okay? So with Scorpio being in your fourth house, I'll talk real quick about what the fourth house means, okay? So, pardon me. So the fourth house is your home, your soul. It has to do with your siblings. And it's the place where you find out who, or you search for who you really are when no one is looking, right? So that's like your real you. I mean, the identity of you, your first house, is like, this is me, this is who I'm working on, this is what I know to be true, right? But your fourth house is understanding who you are when no one's looking, like where your heart is, where your home is, and you understand that your home becomes where your heart, or you come to an understanding where your home is where your heart is, right? So you can be, you can learn that you can be on the other side of the world and be really happy as long as you're centered with yourself. That's what you're going to be working on, or that's what you've been working on in this house, okay? So you're searching, you're trying to figure out what that is for you, okay? Now, those are the ones that I'm going to go over. I don't want to make this too long. Again, the solar eclipse is going to be happening in your 8th house, so you have a lot of things that you're going to be transforming in the next 3 months, but this is all about how much energy do you have flowing through you, what have you not let go of so that you can bring forth, okay? So now let me see if I can make this bigger. I think you guys can see this. So this isn't going to be perfect, but let's make this bigger. See if I can do this. Oh. I'll just move that to the middle. Okay, so this is your spread for the next 3 months. All right. So in your first position, you have the 10 of Swords. I know you can't see it, but you guys have seen these cards. The 10 of Swords, this is your present position. This is going to be your position around the time, or right now, of the eclipse, right? So the 10 of Swords is about understanding you're needing to move forward in something and not doing it because it's too heavy a burden. So you know that you have these decisions to make, and you know what? It's not just about the decisions that I'm feeling, it's about the actions that you need to take. And for some reason, you get stuck in your head where I got to take this action, but it's going to hurt, or it's going to affect something, or it's not going to go right, and you start thinking about what if it doesn't, and what if it does, and what if you blah, blah, blah. And I'm seeing where it makes you paralyzed. It makes you, where it gets you overwhelmed, right? So the 10 of Swords is about that. That's your present position. I feel like with this card, Spirit always says, remember that each of those things, you don't have to look at the big picture and say, oh my God, it's just too much. I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this. And then you end up doing nothing, right? You're like, I'll look at it later. That's where you're at. But if you do one thing at a time, just take the most important thing that's in your heart that you really need to settle and do that first. Because each of those things is going to help you clear so that your abundance can come in, this abundance that you've been calling for a while. So that's the Ten of Swords. What's crossing you is Spirit's advice, and that's the Five of Wands. The Wands is all about taking action, all about standing your ground, all about fighting for what you want. And Spirit is saying, we've heard what you want, and we're trying to give it to you. But if you don't help us along and take the action and give us some energy, we can't get it through. You got to let go of some things, and you got to take the action to do those other things so that the energy can flow through you, so that your gifts can come in, so that your abundance can come in, so that your relationships can come in. You just have to let us know which one you want first. You got to take some action. I need you to take some action. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. Again, this is up to you. You always have a choice. But they've heard what you're saying, and they're saying, get some passion, focus on the one thing, and take some action. And we will help you because we love you. We will help you. But we need you to do your part. Okay? So, what you came from, that's down. So this is the first position for those of you that don't know. And this is the second position. This is the third position. This is where you came from. So where you came from was the Nine of Swords. So it's like you progress from the 9 to the 10, right? 9, 10. So the Nine of Swords is like the 10 of Swords. Only the Nine of Swords is where you were understanding like you wanted to do some stuff and you wanted to do these things, but it was going to hurt too much, or you were going to hurt somebody, or it wasn't going to work out right, and you just kept talking to yourself and talking to yourself, and then it just became overwhelming. And that put you in this position where you became overwhelmed. Okay? And that's your recent past. So when I talk about these cards, I talk about love. And to me, love is that energy that moves through all vibrations. So I could be talking about your work. I could be talking about your family. I could be talking about your love life, your romance. Whatever this is, you've been way too much in your head. So much so that it made you physically paralyzed, right? And so they're saying, you don't have to fix it all at once. You don't have to know all the answers before you fix it or before you try to fix it. We just need you to stand for something. We need you to stand your ground. We need you to take a little bit of an action, and we will help you, okay? Now, in your fourth position, where is that? Sorry. You know what? I don't think you can see the cursor. So in your fourth position, you can't see this because of the light, but it is the hermit. So the fourth position is from now to the next month. So from now to the next month, the hermit is about you isolating yourself. It's about you coming to your center, and it's about you getting very clear and not moving until you get really clear. And the hermit, when you're in the hermit, you will move when you get something very clear, and they will give you something very clear. Like it'll be almost profound, and I don't know if like some of you will be meditating, some of you will be maybe cooking or doing something, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I see it. I understand what I'm supposed to do. Now I know what I'm going to do. That's the hermit. Like I stay to myself until I get the epiphany. And in this next month, it looks like that's what you'll be working through. That's what it's going to be happening in your love life, in your money, in your job, in your careers, in your family, in these issues that you've been really wanting to like move through. That's what I feel like is going to happen in the next month. You're going to get epiphanies. And as you do, especially with this eclipse energy, I can see where you're like, you know what? I really don't. Why am I hanging on to that? That is just so ridiculous. Like you look at it and you're like, I haven't seen that in so long. Why am I still hanging on to that? Like I just need to let that go. And as you do that, I see you saying, oh, wow, like the next day, or some other time you're like, wow, I see it. This is so, like, this is what I need to do. That's what I'm seeing for the Hermit in this next month. Now, in your fifth position, above the Ten of Swords, is the Six of Coins, or the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is all about balancing. So the Six of Pentacles, or this position also, is from your higher self. It's from spirit. I always ask them, what is the one message they want to bring through to help you move forward in love? And they've given you the Six of Coins. And what they're saying is, if you've been giving too much in any area that you're working on, then maybe it's time to pull back. But if you've been giving no energy to areas that you need to, maybe it's time to give some. Okay? It's just time to balance it out. And they're also saying with the Six of Coins that there is help out there. You don't have to do it alone. There are people around you that want to help you just because they want to help you. Just because they love you. Not because they want something back, but because they love you. Okay? There are people like that, and there are people around you like that. Okay? It may not be family. It could be friends. It may not be friends. It may be family. It may be a coworker. It may be somebody. It's just different for different people. But they're saying there are people around you that want to help. Okay? And that's what you'll be coming to an understanding in this next 3 months. Remember, the 8th house is about other people. Other people's money, other people's issues, other people. So there are other people that you're going to be reaching out to, or are going to want to help you. Okay? Now, in your 6th position, you have the 8 of Coins. The 8 of Coins is all about, or the 8 of Pentacles. The 8 of Coins is all about you working on something very diligently. And this position, the 6th position, is month 2 and 3. So it looks like in the first month, you're really going to be investigating, thinking about, waiting for that epiphany, or thinking about how you can do things differently, or letting go of stuff. And then it looks like by month 2, you move into that, okay, I'm working diligently in this. I'm really getting things done. Things are happening. Oh my gosh, this is really better. But you're really, really working. Like, you don't have time for foolishness. That's what I'm hearing. You don't have time for foolishness. And what happens with the 8 of Coins is that the 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Coins, this person works so diligently and works so hard at this that they then become the master and they don't even realize it, right? Because they've worked and things have failed, and they work and things didn't go right, but they still worked and they tweaked it and they did it. And it's just different for everybody because it's in different areas of people's lives for everyone that's watching. So just understand that whatever your focus is, whatever it is that you're coming to terms with and trying to grow through and trying to manifest, it looks like in the 2nd and 3rd month, you'll be diligently working at it. Okay? Now, in your 7th position, the 7th position is about your fear. And a fear to me, if you've never seen me, a fear to me is just a thing that you can bounce off of, right? So a fear is just there to remind you of what you want and what you don't want. It's there to remind you of what you don't want. You know you don't want that, so focus on what you want. It's just a fear. It's there to show you, I don't want that. I see you over there, but I'm not going to sit in that. I'm going to come over here and do what I want to do, not what I'm afraid that's going to happen, right? That's a fear position to me, okay? So in the 7th position, you have the Palace of Swords. The Palace of Swords is about a mental state of mind. So the palaces are a mental state. So the Palace of Swords is about cutting people out, designing something that's very different than what you know, thinking outside the box, planning these things, and becoming so airy that it doesn't become solid. And that's what I feel like your fear is that you've been planning and you've been doing, and then you can't do, and then you do, and then it doesn't come out, and then all of a sudden, and will it ever happen? That's your fear, is that it's never going to happen. Is it ever going to be solid? Am I ever going to be abundant? Am I ever going to smile again? Am I ever going to be happy? Are these things just in my head? Is this just too much for me to be asking for? That's your fear. That's your fear. Remember, It's just there to remind you of what you don't want. You know you don't want to leave it up in the air. You know you don't want to keep always grabbing for it. You know you don't want to like keep thinking about it and keep thinking about it and it not coming to fruition. You know you don't want that. So focus on what you want. Take the actions and make it solid. Make it grounding. Make it physical in this earth, in this reality. Okay? Now, in your 8th position, this is the way a loved one or the universe will be treating you. You have the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is all about celebration. The 9 of Cups is all about happier times. You see where the cups are full? You see where he's smiling and the cups are full? It's all about celebration. It's all about lighter times. It's all about the hard work and the emotional connection. And you can breathe and you can smile and you can even laugh. That's the way a loved one will be treating you. That's the way the universe will be treating you. There will be moments in these next 3 months where your cups will be full. Okay? So focus on that. Understand that. Okay? Now, in your 9th position, the 9th position is about your hopes and dreams, but to me, the 9th position is about that energy that's just outside and it's on its way in to your reality. You have the 2 of Cups. This is all about bonding. This is all about partnership. This is all about, and partnership can be in your love life, with your family, with your friends. It can be many things, many relationships. Your coworkers, maybe if it's work that you've been really invested in, maybe you get a contract. Maybe somebody comes in and has the same ideas as you and you work well together. This is all about that. The 2 of Cups is about understanding each other emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And it looks like in your 9th position, that energy is coming towards you. Okay? Now, in your 10th position, this is the overall outcome of what you'll be working through, working on, the main theme of this spread, the main theme in your life. This is the 4 of Swords. And the 4 of Swords is about putting down your sword and resting at those things that you cannot change, because you can't change other people. You can't force somebody to love you. You can't force somebody to be a certain way. You can't force a family member to do the things that you want to do. You can't force a coworker to be the way that you want them to be. You can't force anything. You have done all that you can do in those areas that you have been working on. Again, this has to do with the 6 of Coins. If you have been giving too much in some area, then maybe it's time to pull back and focus on another area. If you have not been giving anything at all and ignoring those areas, maybe it's time to invest and focus on those areas. That's what this 4 of Swords is about. The 4 of Swords is understanding, okay, I've done everything I could in this area. I've done everything I could with this situation. There's no more I can do. So I need to let that rest and I need to come over here and fix this part. I need to come over here and work on this. That's what the 4 of Swords is about. That's what you'll be working on in the next 3 months, understanding how to balance that, understanding what it is that you need to let go of, understanding what it is that you need to bring in, allow in, understand these relationships that you cannot make happen, and then the relationships that maybe you've been holding on to, some of you, where you haven't even seen them, but you keep holding on to their energy or this grudge or the way that they treated you, or maybe it's time for you to let go of that so that your abundance can come in. All right, my gorgeous ones, I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so very much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you like what you see. I know this is a different format, but I wanted to be able to give you guys the information. So I will see you soon. If you want any of my services, my link to my website is down below. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.